and welcome back to Plannercraft. I'm Natalie and today we're going to be doing a covered box. So, to give you a bit of a heads up what we're doing, we're going to be creating something like, but not exactly like this, where we've actually used paper to actually cover our box as we build it so that we get nice neat edges and you don't have to worry about setting up glue tabs in your actual cutting file. So, a few hellos before we get started. If the chat would hurry up. Morning Carol, morning Tracy. Our chat doesn't seem to be... Oh, there we go, it's pinged through finally.
It's a bit on the slow side as well.
Yeah.
Like everything else.
Yeah, it's a bit like me. We're definitely on the slow side this morning.
Sally says hi.
Hi Sally. So, what you're going to need today is you're going to need a 12x12 pad, which is preferably more paper-like than card, so that it's got a bit of flexibility in it. So this one's 160 GSM, and that's probably about perfect. So we've got lots of nice patterns that we can use, and that's where this pattern has come from already. And I thought I'd do something else that would match.
Morning, Deb.
You're going to need... Morning, Deb. You're also going to need some Tombow Mono Aqua or some bookbinding glue, something that's going to make basically your paper not wrinkle. Okay, and finally for your structure, I'm using some 580 GSM thick card. Now usually when I use this one I actually cut two and actually sandwich them together before I assemble the rest of the box, but today we're down to our last sheet. So you can tell how many different projects I've been doing with this. So we're going to make do with one, aren't we, Ian?
Yeah.
And we'll see how we go. You are also going to need a ruler. Now I'm using one that's got a grid on it because that's going to help me when it comes to doing things like glue tabs. But you also want something that is a reasonable width, so this is going to become the gap between our pieces of card to form our hinges. Okay, so with that in mind we can get our cutting mat, and if Ian wants to swap over to the ScanNCut screen, it's going to go off just as I say that. There we go, it's back up now.
Morning, Jill.
Morning, Jill.
You're up on Facebook.
Okay. So I have my pieces on my mat, and I'm going to go OK. And because we're working with thicker card today, you're going to want to use your standard auto blade. So if you are working on a silhouette with this card, I would recommend that you go to the craft blade. I'm just going to load my mat if it will behave, because it's been playing you up this morning, hasn't it, Ian?
Yeah.
It's been naughty.
Try it back a little bit and let it take you, because that's how I had to do it this morning.
Okay. Let's get it lined up. Come on. Doo-doo-doo. It's definitely in the doghouse today, isn't it? So I hope you all had a great weekend. And I should say that means we didn't string yesterday.
Morning, Joyce.
It's really not wanting to play ball. I clean my rollers and everything as well. Come on. No, it's gripping enough, it's just not being able to rotate. Let's do that quick. I told you it needed to come down for a week, didn't I? It needs a good clean out and a bit of TLC. So I'm just going to grab some alcohol and a cotton bud and just very quickly do my rollers, because I know the top of the mat's filed. So if you press the mat load button and hold your cotton bud against the roller, and it will rotate round and you can get it nice and clean. Still coming up filthy. Come on. Okay, now this side. More for good measure. I only did that the other day. Yucky. Let's try that again, shall we? There we go. Okay. Now this is definitely one way you're going to want to have somebody catch it out the other end if you're going to do a background scan. But I think we should be okay to do that.
You doing background scan?
No, I'm just going to go for it. And I'm going to pop it in my standard autoblade, which is the black top one. Make sure that half cut is off because we were doing a project at the weekend with lots of half cutting. And our speed is at 2 and our pressure is at -9. So what do you think, Ian? Do you think I need to drop that speed?
No, it should be alright, shouldn't it?
Yeah.
Can you put your
It's only
cut
basic.
amount back?
Thank you. So cut them out. It's at 0.5, so it should be okay.
Okay.
It was 0.1 where it was having to go around lots. So it should just do the twice.
The screen is out of focus.
Okay. Let's see if we can sort
Looks alright my end.
Yeah, I was going to say it looks okay in our preview. Try going back out and go back in. Because
Tracy says it's alright there.
yeah, so generally if something goes a bit fuzzy, it's because it's starting to lose a bit of the stream, isn't it? So sometimes if you go back out and go back in, it sorts itself back out. And we're going to go start. Yeah.
One Kareem, that's okay. Ranging flat.
Oh, what have you been arranging flowers for? Somebody dropped off a nice bouquet for you? So for my side pieces, I've used 2 of the more unusual basic shapes, so that you can see how you can use them in your crafting. And then the rest is just made up of squares and rectangles, where the rectangles have been adjusted to match the height of the side pieces of that funny shape. Do you want me to flick it back overhead? Canva.
Birthday.
Ooh, happy birthday, Tony. I'm sorry to hear you're having internet issues, Linda.
One window I didn't see you pop in there.
He snuck in through the back door.
When I was over here watching.
New shed is up, old shed has been shiplapped. Just the trimmings to do on it, then all finished.
Hey!
She has far more energy than than we do today. Today we're like, zombie. what you can do is you can change your cut amount to actually make it cut through in less passages, but what? Oh, it's slipping on. Let's quit cutting. Okay. Because it's gone off a bit. So if you find it starts to do that where it drifts off, it can be that it's just not getting enough grip on the mat. I think it might have to be a new mat time.
After order them.
Yeah.
Get it a bit quicker. Do you want to close up your...
Yeah, I'll close up my panel so you can see. So what I may end up doing, and probably will end up doing, is just going through and just...
Because I suppose you get the design from. It's your own, isn't it?
It's my own. So all you need to do is, let's talk you through what I did. So with my two side pieces, I just literally brought them in as is. So as they come on the mat is what size they are. Like so. I then brought in a square which we can use as a base. But it also happens to be the same height, so what I would do is those ones it hasn't quite got through. So I'm going to use my knife to tidy that up. And let's get one of the squares. So these are all as the same size as they come in for the squares too. Then with the rectangles, I use the fatter rectangle rather than the thinner one. And then dragged the height of it to match that short edge there. And that was all I did. Nice and easy. Thought I'd keep it nice and simple so that if you guys want to have a go with putting the file together, you can do. In a minute we could probably even give you the shape codes because they're the same shapes that are on your machine. There we go. If you need to tidy up your corners, do so at this point. It's going to be much easier to try and tidy up now than after you've stuck everything down. Okay, now time to guess which bit of this is the right one.
The outside line.
Yeah, I want this one here, because that's the one that met right. Then, judging by this, it looks like this one here. So I'll go with that one. So if ever you have one where you think, oh well that's not... Shame because it would have gone through on that cut.
Yeah.
You just didn't quite get the rollers going enough. There we go. So then we've got our two rectangles. So I'm just going to grab my side piece and I can check to see which line I need. So it is the inside line on this one too. And then side pieces should be pretty cut. Let's give that bottom section another. Okay. Probably going to have to get you to recalibrate it again, sorry Ian. So it's already had one recalibration this morning. Go. So you can put that down to one side, and now you need to decide which 12x12 paper you're going to use, and you're going to want to probably have a couple of sheets of it as well. So with most pads you get 2 or 3 sheets of pattern. So I was thinking that one so that we've got a good change to the other pattern that I used, rather than having it all dark. Let's find another sheet of it.
Could you do a show and tell with calibration here? Yeah?
Yeah, it's about time we did another maintenance stream, isn't it?
Yeah.
You could always do it that for like an afternoon one if you wanted to, or if you want to swap something into the...
An afternoon one. I'll do a short one.
Yeah.
It doesn't take long, does it?
No, it doesn't take long to do it at all. So, we have 2 of the shorter side pieces that are going to go there and there. Okay. We've got our front and back, so I'm going to work this way round, even though eventually I'll use it probably more that way, but this way round, freeze. You're going to have one square that's your base, and then your other 2 squares are going to slot in here. Okay. So, what you need to decide next is how you actually want to fold up your net. So what I mean is, if we've got our 12 by 12 here, if it fits, you could do a cross like so. Now for this design it's going to be a little bit short, but you could do it like that, so then these bits would fold up, but it's going to leave it a bit short on this top and bottom edge. So what you're going to want to do instead is you're actually going to create part of the design and then finish off with a separate panel. So we know that this section here is too long, whether we put it this way or that way. So that is the one that you're going to get rid of. Then we can push all this back up a bit. And this is why you're going to need more than one sheet. Yeah? So with that in mind, we can start sticking down our pieces. We're going to start at our bottom piece, and you are always going to apply your glue to your card and not your paper, and that's going to help save just a few of your wrinkles. So we're going to go edge to edge with this. So the teeth on the actual glue applicator are going to help to even out your coverage, so you should get a nice consistent coverage across. If you're using something else, then just be aware that you need to spread it out. You don't want to have any lumps or bumps before you put it down, especially if you're used to using something like the Stix 2 3D PVA, where you've got a little fine nozzle. This is definitely one you're going to want to apply flat. Now I'm going to use my ruler while it's still wet and movable to try and make sure that I've got this lined up. So I'm just going to line this up to the edge, and then I can twist this to get it in place up to the edge of my ruler. So this is why using a straight edge ruler like this is really going to help you. So then you have something that looks like this, where you've got that point facing down and we've got a flat edge to the top. Hopefully you're doing okay. Now, if we were to put this panel here, that means that when we wrap our paper around, we're going to have to cut yet another panel to go on top to tidy up. So what I'm going to suggest is that instead of trying to do it like that, let's see if we can go like this instead. I think, let's go decisions. I'll go on. I'll do it that way because I think it's going to be easier for you to see what I'm doing if I put that base in and then put an extra layer on top. Okay, let's go with that. So now what we want to do is we're going to adhere down this centre panel. We want to make sure that it is flush with this piece, and we also want to keep a gap. So the way I recommend doing the gap is using that metal ruler to actually stand up against that edge of this piece here, and we're going to put this piece up the other side against it, so then when you take it away you know you've got a fixed distance. Okay, so you could use a metal edge ruler for this, you don't have to use the same gridded one that I'm using. And doing projects like this hide a multitude of sins, so where I've got that double cut edge, for instance, where the machine went off a bit, then you are never going to know. So if you have one you think, oh, it hasn't cut quite perfect, chances are by the time you've folded all your tabs around, you won't be any the wiser. So put your ruler up against that edge and we're going to line it up. Now this is the trickiest bit because you want to try and get over the top, but don't worry if you don't get it right first time, because you can actually use your ruler to slide it along. Check it that way and then pop it back in the middle just to check that you've got your gap wide enough. So if it needs a little push, give it a little push. Check again, and then we can press it down. So if at this point you want to use a brayer or your bone folder to burnish that paper to your card, you can do. Just be aware that you are going to have this bump edge here, so just go a bit careful so that you don't tear your paper. So next we can go with our side piece, and again we will use that same gap here to take across this side. So try and make sure when you're doing this that your glue's going right to the edges. You do end up with slightly sticky fingers, but it's only water based. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to put my bumpy edge to the bottom, so that way the nice neat edge is at the top. So get that in, line it up against the ruler, line it this way, line it this way. Okay, and we'll do the same on the other side. So the box that I showed you at the beginning is actually our members project for last month, so you can still get that if you sign up, or you can buy it as a one-off project if you don't want to join the membership. And it comes with a perpetual calendar that slots in, but you don't have to use that if you don't want to. If you just want to use it as storage. So again, I can slot in my ruler, check that lines up that way. So long as everything is square, if your gaps are slightly uneven, it's not going to show too much, but more of a gap is better than less of a gap. So the glue is Tombow Mono Aqua. So it's a totally clear glue. One end it has the little teeth, which is what I'm using for today. So basically anytime you're covering a large area, if you use the teeth, it's going to give you a nice even layer of coverage. And the other end, if you just want to do something detailed, you have a little detail applicator at the other end. Okay, so with that, £2.50 a bottle, there you go. Little voice from out in the hall. So now I'm going to just take off my protective paper that I have on my ruler, just so that I can see through my grid. My hands are still a bit sore. They had started to perk up a bit yesterday, but yeah, they weren't happy overnight. So I'm going to go and decide how deep I want my glue tabs to go. So on my ruler, hopefully you can see this, might need to be a little bit closer, but I've got an inch guide, and then that inch is then divided up into eighths. So on the grid I'm going for 3/8 into where my card is here. Then you're going to want to grab a pencil or a pen. If you want to go for an erasable pen, that's fine too, because you're not going to see any of this. It's all going to be tucked away. So we can mark straight down the side all the way to the next piece. And likewise on this side, I'm going to mark straight down there and into that next piece. So if I take that away, you've got a sort of seam allowance, is probably the best way of describing it. And we can do the same for the next corner. So I'll line it up so that my grid matches my card. I've got the same 3/8, and I'm going to mark it again. Okay, this time I'm going to rotate it round because I want to get this corner here. And I can do this side. Now if they don't meet in the corner, don't worry, because we're going to be chopping into those two. I'm going to do the same on this corner. Okay, just going to line that up along that line down there. I can mark that again. And again all the way up to the next piece. So at this point I'm not worrying about, oh, I've got to mitre it in there. It's just literally, let's get the bounds onto there. And you're going to do the same all the way around. That's okay. So I'm going to make sure these line up, and we can go and do the bottom section here. So if anybody's interested in the ruler it's from cheetahcrafts.com, but Sticks do a similar one. Taking a guess at the questions because I can't see.
We haven't had any questions about your ruler.
Okay. And this time we only want to go up to about 3/8 beyond there, so let's go up to there. It's probably the only bit that you'll actually measure. And last little bit. So now you should have something that looks like that. So we've got this 3/8 line all the way around. Now what you're going to do is you're going to actually, let's go down this end because you can probably see it better there. You're going to stand your ruler up on edge and you're going to mark your 45-degree angle. So let's put that there. So that gives you a little bit of a overlap when you actually fold your tab round. Do 2 in one go there. And that one there. Come back down the other side. Ding. I know you probably can't see that bit because I'm a little bit close to the edge of my desk, but we will sort of that in a minute so I can show you. It doesn't have to be, yeah, it doesn't have to be perfect 45-degree angles, you'll be pleased to know. Just somewhere close to, so that you have something that looks like that. So that is still your base, that's going to be your 2 sides, and then we've got our front. So we can attach our back bit after. So we're going to have our glue tabs there that are going to be able to go up and hold our back piece on. But what you are going to want to do is just mark out these 2 little V sections in here. So to do that, you're going to grab that ruler, hold it roughly 45, and we're going to do 2 overlapping lines. So we're going to do one from there, and then butt that up to that corner there. We're going to do the same there. Do the same here, so butt that up that way. Butt that up that way. So that we can do our little notches there. And then that excess we can tuck inside our fold. Likewise, these ones we can go that way and that way, and they should end up more or less, yeah, overlapping. There we go. So then we'll be able to actually pull those in. So next challenge is to cut all of those out. So I'm just going to use some big old scissors, because this is where having perfectly cut lines really doesn't matter. So we can literally go down like that. Do the same just here, down this way. So we can save our corner pieces for use on another project, or if you end up having a piece large enough, you might just use that for a centre. But chances are, in something like this, you're going to use it for somewhere else. So we're going to cut down that edge there. Then we can do our big long cut, and I'll cut the notches out after. Da, 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 da. So for those of you that are already members, the project's already there for you to download, and there's instructions that go into detail about where you need glue tabs for that one, so that you can use these same techniques to mark that all out. Now the 5/8 is a really good alternative to grey board. Just you cut 2 and then layer it up. So let's just snip out these notches. So what I'm going to do is just go up to that centre point where the 2 lines cross. And again, doesn't have to be perfect. If at this point you want to add any extra glue, you can do. If you're finding that bits are lifting, just because I didn't get around to burnishing. And let's snip in here, so we're going to snip to there, up to there, snip that bit out, like so, and we're also going to snip a bit in there, and a bit in there. So with those pieces in place, what you're next going to want to do is go, right, okay, what is going to glue what where? So with these two panels here, because we've got these glue tabs that are overlapping, decide what you want to have as your front, okay?
By any means, he's having bloodstone. So he's watching from the doctor's surgery.
Oh. Okay, so I'm going to fold up all these tabs so you can see what I mean. But when you come to do yours, you won't need to fold them all up. So, let's go for this way. So, if you're going to have that as your front, okay, you're going to glue this tab in to cover this end here. And that's going to glue in like that, so you're getting a nice neat finish, is the idea. Okay. Meanwhile, your ultimate nice finish is going to end up being your bottom, because the way we've done that today. But that's cool.
You have a lovely bottom.
So let's do these first, so that we can follow this all round, and we're going to have this nice neat front section. So if you want to do it so that this is your front, then what you would do is do it the other way around. So this is going to fold round and glue, and that's going to be fixing, okay? But we want this to be nice and neat. Now, I'm going to use my detail applicator, but what I want to try and do is try and get nice even coverage. Okay, we're going to wrap that round. Now when it gets down to this bottom section, just take a little extra care, because obviously you've got that excess in there, and I've been a bit brutal. You have plenty of time to not be so brutal. I'm going to do my two side bits first. And if you need to get your bone folder, wherever mine's popped off to, where's it gone? Can you see it fluffing? Thank you. It was hiding behind my nail file. I'm just going to burnish this down so it actually stays in place.
She hasn't had my appointment sent yet, but I've got an appointment for my third COVID jab. Cool.
You're doing better than my dad, who still hasn't had his yet.
He's not had his invite.
No. No, because if he had, you'd have already been taking him, because...
Yeah, need to get it done before...
Yeah. So now I'm going to do these edges. Now these would be sort of your open edges, so you really want to take a lot of care of these. Now because we're going to go to an internal corner, you are going to have a little bit of fun and games. So I'm going to apply glue to both of these tabs first. So very gently. I'm just going to start to bend those round, and then kind of encourage it, is the way I would term it. Encourage it into that corner. Now if you're using a dark coloured paper and you find that it's really obvious where you've encouraged it into that corner, then you can just touch that up with a marker. So again, I'm going to burnish that. Now if you have somewhere like this where, let's see if I can get this a bit close to the camera, where you've got a little bit of an overlap, rather than being tempted to just snip it, most of the time you can just tuck it underneath. So I'm just going to release it a little, give it a little fold into that corner, And this is why we say go for a thinner paper, because if you tried to do that in card, it wouldn't happen. And we're just going to press that back down. Then we're going to get our bone folder and we're going to give it a really firm press.
So there's just no sign of Matthew Cover, I think we'll be told today. That's cool.
So we're going to do the same on this side now, so leave this bit to last. So apply your glue. Now if you had somewhere where you know you did it on this side, try and match this on this side. So I'm just going to literally roll that corner in like so. And I'm going to apply my glue this side too. And again, you can go and encourage it into that corner. So you should now have something that looks like that. And we can burnish that down so it seals nicely to our card. You're feeling hungry? That's not like you. And we can apply glue. Now I'm going to do a little bit just these edges here, even though I'm probably going to end up just tucking those in a little, so we can get our bone folder, and we're just going to gently lift that up, press that down, and do the same this side. It's just going to help get a nice neat finish. So I'm just pressing that down. Then we can take that up and over, press it right up into that top.
They seem to be slacking in the UK, don't they? A little bit.
Yeah, because I think we're struggling for supplies, because Jamie's behind having his as well. So he was supposed to have his, second week of school?
Yeah.
And now he's been told he might not get it till after half term, which is a bit upsetting. Okay, so now we have our next two flaps, and I'm just going to fold that one there. This is how we're going to actually glue our box together. So that's going to go in there, okay, like so.
They probably sorted in Wales, but in Derry.
But this tab here is going to be an inwards facing one. So let's do that one first. So anything where you know you're going to need a neat edge, try and pay attention to which order you do it in, because it's gonna help.
Do you leave your bottom one to attach your other one? Because obviously you've got another side panel to attach. Right?
Yeah, I've got another side panel to attach just there. So that one's going to be fun, because we've got an unusual shape as well. Whereas before with our over back, it was a nice straight back. So when you do your members one, this is going to be nice and easy. It just goes up and over and back underneath. And you'll have a final time. So if ever you're not sure about something, just keep testing it, making sure that you're getting it where you want to. So these two sides here are going to become your glue sections. So with that back tab, it's going to be nice and easy because we can actually glue it straight to that white surface. But with this one, it's going to be a little bit more tricky.
Jill says her parents are having their third jabs this Saturday in Worcester. Well, in Worcestershire anyway.
Yeah, Jackie's had her third jab in Worcestershire. She had it in Ombersley, and I'm thinking it's just my dad that they've left behind, which is quite upsetting actually, because...
Has he spoke to his doctors about it?
Yep.
What they say?
There isn't any in Worcester. Yeah. Right, okay. Let me believe you. Okay. So now you want to match up the top. So this can be a little bit tricky. You want to match so that you've got a nice smooth finish here, and then because we got that wonky bottom, it's going to look a bit wonky to start with. It'll be okay.
Maybe likes a wonky bottom.
Okay, so if you're looking at this and thinking, oh, it looks messy, don't worry, it's going to be alright in the end. Because what we've got to do is we've got to line our box yet. This is going to end up being a two-parter, isn't it? Because looking at the time, it's like, this should be a little bit quicker. But never mind.
We'll do part 2 tomorrow.
Yeah.
Then shaky cards on Thursday.
Yeah. Nearly forgot my own instruction there. Do my top bit first. There we go. Silly nutty. So I'm going to fold that over around the top. Finish that down. It's the burnishing that gives you that nice crisp top edge. Okay.
Would you recommend the Teflon folder because at least it doesn't
Yeah,
mark?
yeah, the Teflon won't make your paper shiny. So it's a good one to invest in. So let's again and line up this top edge. And then when you're happy, you can burnish that down too. So far so good. So now, before we glue this side, you are going to want to do a trace onto the spare piece of paper. Now the reason that we're going to do this is we're actually going to then have our sort of inserts. So we're going to trace round the entirety of our shape twice, and again we don't have to be neat because we're actually going to cut inside this line. Okay, and we can do another one. Let's go this way. And we can take that right up to there. Basically our insert panels are going to be slightly smaller. And let's go around here, around here, around here, and back. So those are our two shaped bits. Now we know that this is the same size as our side bit, so we can just miss out this top section. And let's rotate that round that way. I'm just going to continue this line up here, around here, down here, up.
Once you've done that bit, could you then turn it over so you have a straight edge to do that bottom edge?
Yeah, yeah, if you're that bored. Because what we're actually going to do is we can grab our ruler and we can actually go in by a set amount. So for instance, let's put the lid back on my glue so I don't get it anywhere. I can actually go in by 1 notch on my ruler, and I can go straight down like that. So didn't quite end up level on that one, but that's okay. I'll go there and do this one as well. And again, because we're working on the back, we can go all the way across. Don't have to be Puffing around, working out where we're starting and stopping. And across there. We're going to go down this side of the line all the way. And we're going to do the same on this line here, so rotate the ruler around. And line, making go down. And one line, and down that way. And finally we can go around our top section and do our 2 points here. So now we're going to be measuring this and making sure that you've got it absolutely perfect. It's literally there so that it just covers up that white space. So you have something there. You're basically going to cut round to here, all the way around. And then let's do our top and bottom. So we're going to do another piece that inserts in the bottom and comes up the sides, and that's going to reinforce this section in here as well. Might have to pop a little bit more glue on that. So I'm going to grab one of our other pieces and work out the bottom. So we want to make sure that we've got enough room for our tabs to come up the side. We can trace around like so. And use our 3/8 measurement again. So down the side. So I'm just going to keep going to 12, and then whatever point I'm at, I'll stop. So with this one, again, you want to just do your corners, just because this has got the glue tabs that are going to go up inside your box. Let's get that bit more 45, that was a bit on the so we should have 2 of our sort of shaped panels, 2 of our side panels, and 1 for the bottom. And then we can use a different paper to actually build up these 2 side pieces when we get there. So shall I cut those out next, or?
You've only got 5 minutes, so.
Okay.
To leave it there at that point,
Yeah.
so that's some way to leave it, and then we'll come back tomorrow and cut them out. And
Yeah, I think so. We think so. If there's, are there any questions for where we've got to? I think next piece is going to be that one to do.
what to wrap.
Mm-hmm.
You've got space on there to do it, haven't you?
Yep. Try to do it quick.
Yeah, you
while we're... So, any questions while I'm doing this, just pop them in the comments. And ask Ian. Ian, have you still got the Canvas file open?
Yes.
Do you want to just quickly go through dimensions for the different pieces?
Okay. And Tracy says it makes more sense now that she's seen you do it, if that makes sense.
Yeah, to what the instructions are.
Yeah.
I did work hard on the instructions though to get them a bit easier and clearer to understand. So
So do you want me to go through just the sizes of you?
of the individual shapes, yeah. So I'm going around 3/8 for this one too.
So pop that on, let's make it bigger, because otherwise you'll see all the bits in the background which you don't really want to see. So here are all our bits that we've cut out today. So if we click on one and just go to properties. So it's a 10 centimetre square, so the base is 10 centimetres. It looks like they're all coming at 10, so
Yeah.
your two sides also come in at 10 centimetres or 100 mil. Your rectangles are 100 mil by 66.5, and that'll be another 10 mil square. So you've got 3 10 mil squares, 2 jigsaw pieces as they come in at 10 mil, and then your 2 rectangles are 10 centimetres, sorry, by 66.5. So back with you, sweetie.
Okay. So I'm nearly there. Just finish up marking this one and then we will be good to go. Now I've probably allowed a few extra tabs than what I would normally do, so I might trim some of these off. But at least if you mark them up with the extra at this point, it's nice and easy to just go back in and just snip.
So leave it just marked up for today and then
Yeah.
we'll do all the cutting up tomorrow.
Yeah. So let's get that there. That one there. And that one.
Top corner.
Top corner. There we go. So you should have something that looks like that. So those are all your inside pieces. That's the back piece. And then you're going to be covering your 2 insert pieces with some different paper tomorrow, and I will show you how we actually create those. Okay. So I hope you all start to have a go. Don't be afraid. At the end of the day, it's a piece of card if you go wrong. If you haven't got any 580 card in your stash, then you can just use some cereal packets just to practice with, and it's a really good way of recycling your boxes. So if you're doing the food shopping, you've got a load of cereal boxes that you need to cut down, and
Crisp bread.
yeah, crisp bread packets work really well. That tends to be what I use.
Tracy says or something. Deb says thanks.
Thank you, Deb. Thank you, Tracy.
That's what's done.
Yeah, that's it done for today. So thank you for joining us. I think the DT are going to be putting up some bits and pieces about the projects that they've done with our members kit, so you can see the photos for that. And I look forward to seeing you tomorrow at 11. So shaker cards will go to
Thursday.
when, yeah, Thursday. I'm on the wrong day of the week already. Hi Cole, you just about just missed us. So we're just finishing for today, but you'll be able to watch the stream back on YouTube tomorrow. And Facebook, usually it's about, what, 10 minutes after we finish going live, you can watch on catch up. Don't know why it's so long on YouTube, but let us know if you have any questions. So, you're welcome, Linda, and thank you, Jill. And yet, you can use as many layers of your card to actually build your base as you wish. Just as you start to get much thicker, so let's say you're going up to thick cardboard and you're not putting it on the ScanNCut anymore, then what you're going to need is a wider gap between your panels and also on these edges here. So as you go up, you just want to allow a little extra.
Okay, so it's just catch up and see you tomorrow.
Yep, thank you, Tracy. Tracy has taken over doing like the short videos for TikTok.
Yeah.
Although Lucy was giving us ideas last night, wasn't she?
Trying to, bless her.
Yeah. And hopefully next week I'll be doing some videos on vinyl and stuff as well. To give Lucy some ideas mainly. So, take care for now, and we will see you tomorrow. Shaker cards Thursday, and
We'll see how it goes.
we'll see how it goes. Shaker cards should be a nice, easy one. So, bye bye for now. Have a great lunch, and Ian will put up when he's going to do the maintenance stream as well. Yeah?
Yeah.
Will it be today? Probably not. Probably
No.
tomorrow. So, take care and bye.